I feel like a kid in a candy shop because there's a legend sitting here, and I don't think he has made any appearance like this in Thiruvananthapuram. He has played, during his formative years, he must have played a few games here as part of his first-class cricket journey. But, this book, I know that, these are the days when everybody writes an autobiography, a biopic is made even before someone's career is finished. As I went through this book, and pardon me if I flaunt my personal connection with him, I've known him for almost 9 years now. We worked together. And let me tell you one thing from the bottom of my heart. When I was reading the book, I could see him speak to me. And anyone would have known him would feel the same, because somebody who played the game very hard but fair, someone who was supremely confident about himself but put God above everything else, and someone who was supremely gifted and confident, at the same time very humble, and a gentleman who played the gentleman's game the way it should be played, that is in a gentlemanly way. So ladies and gentlemen, please put our hands together for the one and only Syed Mustafa Hussain Kirmani. Kiribai, I call him Kiribai, so allow me that freedom. Kiribai, Thiruvananthapuramthekku Swagatham. Welcome to Thiruvananthapuram. Start with it. You finished your career in '86 practically, the international career. Why did you take so long to write this?
Well, good evening to one and all who are present out here. And what a galaxy of audience in front of me. It's easier to face 101 lakh of people at the stadium, but to sit in front and behind the mic and to face such an educated and galaxy of journalists, writers, authors, etc. and etc. Wow, I'm a little nervous now at the moment. Well, the question was, what is that? Come again.
No,
why did I take so long to write this
exactly.
book? Yes. Well, it never came into my mind to start with, right? Only very recently, probably during the COVID time, when we were all caged in the four walls for nearly 2 years, right? At that time, there were quite a few things happening. I came up with my YouTube channel as well, interviewing all the luminaries of different disciplines of life, right? And from there on, I started to come across my own cricketing colleagues coming up with their biographies or autobiographies, like Sunil Gavaskar, VVS Lakshman, Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar. They all started writing. And of course, very recently also was, of course, in that process, I suppose I was in the verge of writing my autobiography as well. So an autobiography, when I started, it was way back 8 years ago,
Right.
8 to 10 years ago, when it started coming into my mind, I should write what people don't know, how I started, where I started. And from there on, I said, yes, I must. And then the books which came out by my various cricketing friends also, you see, that inspired me, that motivated me. So that's where it took me so long to come out. Why can't I write about where I started, how I started, a story untold, which my own colleagues don't know, how I started, and it's all there in the book.
So, I don't know if he remembers, 5 years ago in an interview, he told me that he was born in Chennai, brought up in Hyderabad, and lost his hair in Bengaluru. And he had this very unique action. And I can't do that to perfection, of course, because I'm yet to get there, thankfully. But,
well,
and a couple of things about your childhood. One is that, and other one is, you started wicket-keeping with a pair of bricks and not wicket-keeping gloves. So your childhood days, Kiribai.
yes, of course, it's all there in the book. By the way, it's all available. At the moment, it's all sold out. So now the new print is coming up within a month or so. Well, way back when I was a small kid of 6, 7 years of age in Jai Mahal Extension in Bangalore, as he mentioned that I was born in Chennai, childhood in Hyderabad, and the rest in Bangalore. Well, there was the only few quarters were there, government quarters, D type and C type. The C type quarter, senior gentlemen formed a team, a cricket team, with 3 bamboo sticks, and then at the bowling end was a boulder, a big stone boulder.
Right.
And he announced himself as the captain and said, okay, we are going to buy a cricket bat and a cork ball. And being the youngest in that group, normally we throw our weight on youngsters, by and large, you know. So being the youngest in that team, he said, oh, go and stop the cork ball, he said. Right, okay, I have to obey the seniors. Went back, and now how do I stop the cork ball? I'll break my fingers. Uneven ground, there was no ground at all Parthenium weeds, small little boulders here and there lying. A few constructions were taking place, and I saw a heap of bricks. That looks nice. So I went up and picked up 2 bricks, and that's where I started to stop the cork ball with the bricks. So that's where bricks were my first gloves. That's how I started.
So as we understand, your parents were very encouraging. At the same time, education was right up there because that was number one. Because your father always wanted you to get a government job. And believe you me, he became an employee of the State Bank of India at the age of 17, even before he could write his board exams. And it's not that he had to apply for the job came to him not once, twice. They were pestering you with their persistence. They badly wanted you, and you had not turned 18 then. So your career with SBI was a fantastic one as well. So what about that, please?
Yes, indeed. You see, now the key to success in any discipline of life is consistency. That's the key. Right? So I didn't know the spelling of key also at that time. And so I was performing from my St. Joseph's Indian High School. I took part in all the sports, ran 100 meters, 200 meters. That was my first sport. And then from there on, played hockey for the house games, football, and cricket was the last one. So from there on, you see, in the inter-school tournaments, you see, my performance was so consistent that I came into the eyes of the selection committee then, the school authorities, etc., and etc. So gradually I got selected for the Mysore State Schools then, right, way back. I'm talking about 1964, 65, wow. It's nostalgia now, trying to get back all those things, which is in the book, nevertheless. So from state schools, I graduated to South Zone to Indian schools. And then that was the year 1967 that the first ever Indian schools team to tour was to England. And my performance again was very, very consistent. Came back 1968. I was inducted, made my debut for the Ranji Trophy as a school kid, doing my 10th standard. And simultaneously, you see, the State Bank of India were promoting promising, talented sports person, not only in cricket. They were trying to bring in from the field of hockey, cricket, volleyball, all other major disciplines of sports. So the sports secretary came up to me and said, okay, while I was practicing at the, a club called Youth Cricket Club. And he said, he introduced himself. I can remember that name, if my memory serves me right. A.R. Subramaniam. A.R. Subramaniam, yes. He came and said, "Ke bhai, State Bank wants to offer you a job. Would you like to join?" I'm sorry. My father has been grilling into my head. Study, study, study. Get a degree, get a government job. Because he was a government employee in the D-type quarters, you know. He was allotted a one-bedroom quarter where me and my two brothers spent 25 years in that one bedroom. Father could not afford canvas shoes, right? But on the sly, I was taking part in the sports, etc. and etc. So that's where I refused for the first time. Within 3 months, he came back. Bhai, there is a facility for you all to go into the evening college once you finish your graduation. I am still in the 10th standard. So what? Does not matter. The bank wants to give you a job. How can you refuse a government job? Central government. Why don't you go and tell your father? I went up to my dad and said, the bank is offering me a job. बहुत ज़बरदस्त डांट पड़ी मेरे को. My dad got wild. He said, झूठ बोल रहे हो तुम. कौन देता है तुमको? You are still in the 10th standard. You are still in doing 17 years of age. Who will give you a job? Chalo, padho jaake. Dant padi, jaake baith gaya. The second time when he approached me, then I said again, he has come back to give me a job in State Bank. Who is that guy who is giving you a job? Bring him home. Brought him home. And he explained everything to my father. And the same year it so coincided that my father was retiring also from his service. So he said, and we were all planning to go back. Father from Hyderabad, we were all planning to go back to Hyderabad and settle down. So that's where I joined the bank as a clerk and continued my studies in the evening college. Gradually, I completed my graduation from there on.
Right.
You know, it was very hectic. 9:30 into the bank as a clerk. 2:30 we were let off for practice, state practice. And in the evening, 6 to 9 was the college. So the principal of St. Joseph's Evening College also was very lenient. He said, okay, you can come 1 hour late to the college. So that's where it all started. And I don't know how I completed my graduation, because whenever the final examination was coming up, a national tour was being organized, so I was preferring cricket to my examination. Nevertheless, that's where I joined the bank and completed my graduation.
Right, and for the records, his father was a very relieved man. He was also a proud man because his father's retiring salary was rupees 300 rupees, and his starting salary was 15 rupees in excess, which is 315 rupees. I mean, those were the days with 315 rupees, you had a happy life with it. Absolutely. So,
absolutely.
Now let's talk about, I mean, as I said, I feel like a kid, asking a lot of questions, but we have a time constraint. Let's jump to your India debut. He made an impact right away as a wicketkeeper and as a batsman, a handy bat. Those were the days when the wicketkeepers were supposed to keep wickets, and if he batted well, it was a happy bonus. But you were quite a handy batsman, a much more than handy, I should say, and that actually kind of catapulted you to the top of the list of wicketkeepers you had. 1971, he made his debut, or rather, he was selected. There is a difference between debut and selection. He was selected in 1971, never played for India in 1971, not in 1972, not in 73, 74, 75. 4 years of patience. Was it frustrating or was it a happy time, Kiribhai?
Well, I suppose I was getting groomed, not realizing that I was getting groomed. It was all due to my consistency in the county games. When Ajit Wadekar was the captain in 1971, that's where I was the baby of the team. And due to my consistency in the previous games, I was, continued with the Indian team. 1971 to 1975, Farooq Engineer was very flamboyant and an opening batsman for Indian team.
And flamboyant in every way. He was flamboyant in every possible way.
Yes, of course, yes. And he was the only one at that time who did an advertisement for Brill Cream, I think, if my memory serves me right.
Which you could never do.
At that time, I did apply that Brill Cream also, and thank you very much, Brill Cream, I said. So, nevertheless, so this is how I was groomed. And grooming in every activity of life is required to establish oneself into any organization, any discipline of life. But I think in the current scenario, there is no grooming process at all, which I have been noticing and observing. So on that count, it was good for me that I was being groomed, playing the county games in England, 1974, 71, until 75,
Right.
76.
So we live in an age where, an international cricketer plays for 2 to 3 years and retire as millionaires. But the theme of this particular edition of MBIFL is change, and you can see the massive change, right? The kind of payment that you had. He was kind enough to share his payment for the 1983 World Cup with me. It is not embarrassed. That's exactly what he is all about. We'll come to 1983, which is going to be a huge part of the discussion. But before that, you played your first test match in New Zealand, and that is the time you waited very patiently. 75, 76, if I'm right, a twin tour of New Zealand and West Indies, and you ended up playing the first match in New Zealand, and right away, you walked into the history book after, if my understanding is right, after Murray, Lindsay, and Grout. You were only the 4th wicketkeeper in the history to have 6 victims in a test innings. What was going through your mind? Were you excited? What exactly was the feeling at that point?
Yes, Sreeduth, listen, now I'm making my debut. And there's no question of any record getting into any debutant's mind for sure, right? So it was just that to perform, put the best foot forward, come what may, and do your best. That was the only thing which happened right from the beginning, without being told. Also, by the way, the bottom line is we never had a coach until we won the 1983 World Cup. Would you like to put your hands together for that 1983 World Cup which India won? What a victory, unexpected. That he will come later on to that. So on that count, the first Wellington test match, no victim. Second test match, Christchurch. So that's where at the end of the innings, I had about 5 victims in the test innings. And there was 1 stumping in that. The rest of the wicket keepers who had all 6 catches, I had 1 stumping. The same evening, there was an Englishman called Jeffrey. Yes, I can remember this name very well. I cannot forget this name. He said, "Kiri, do you realize that you're heading for a world record?" Well, I woke up and said, "What's that world record all about?" And he said, "There are 3 wicket keepers, 1 from England, 1 from South Africa, 1 from Australia, if my memory serves me right. Dennis Lindsay, South Africa. Wally Grout, Australia. And John Murray of England. These 3 wicket keepers had 6 victims as catches. And he said, "Kiri, you have got only 1 last wicket of New Zealand, and you have 5 victims. If you get that 1 victim, you'll be 4th in the world." Believe me, that night I didn't sleep at all. I was looking into the ceiling. How do I get that 1 wicket? How do I get that 1 catch? Sari raat soya hi nahi yaar main. And the next day, to my luck, right, it was a straightforward catch into me. And I was given the honor, thank you. I was given the honor to lead with that ball of 6 victims, and I've got those 6 victims signed on that cricket ball.
You
Right?
still have it. You still have it. You still have it.
Yeah, I still have it. It's in my showcase at home. It's in that, right? And in that, legendary cricketers are there, like Richard Hadley, his brother Dale Hadley. Both these brothers, I have them on the balls signed. And that's a great possession for me. And that's where I happen to equal the world record.
If ever there was an example, a perfect example for baptism by fire, it was what followed that tour. You went to the West Indies. West Indies were already cut up because they lost 5-1 to Australia. They came back, and even worse, you rubbed salt into their wound by beating them at Port of Spain, chasing 400. And the next match at Jamaica, Kingston, I remember what you said. The pitch looked like my head, slippery and shiny. That was some chin music. Touring the West Indies was a nightmare, wasn't it?
Absolutely. You see, now the West Indians, they were ruling cricket. They ruled cricket for nearly 2 decades. But they lost to Australia 5-1 or 5-1, right? And the fastest bowlers in the world then from West Indies as well as Australia. So on that count, we beat them, like you said, at Port of Spain, Trinidad. And now they were so upset because we were considered still the weakest team in the competition right throughout until we won the World Cup in 1983. So they said, okay, now we have to have a body line now. We cannot let these guys go. So they prepared a pitch. As he mentioned, shiny. You could see the shadow when you walk on the pitch, right? And the bowlers like Michael Holding, Andy Roberts, Joel Garner, oh my God, Malcolm Marshall, ooh, right? So it was a body line. 3 of our star players, right, in the top order, went to the hospital one after another. GRV, I think Anshuman Gaikwad, and
Sandeep Patil.
yes,
Sandeep Patil.
yes, one by one. So this was a body line. One side was straight onto your head or on your body. The other side was keeping low. So this is what exactly happened. And believe me, the West Indians, they're ruthless. They would enjoy blood. They would see a guy falling down, hit by the fast bowlers, and they would celebrate with the beer cans, ting, 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 ting. Hey, hit na man, kill him na. This was the chant from the stands, and it was terrifying. And each one of us were at that stage, we were scared. And Bishan Bedi was the captain, right? And we conceded that match.
I remember something you had written in the book, reading it and laughing my, everything off. That, there was this incident, I don't know if you have heard, I'm sure cricket lovers would have, former India captain Venkatraghavan. And these two were in the dressing room, and I think 5 or 6 wickets were down, he had to go out and bat. And those days, and that's the kind of change we are talking about. Today we have a masso, you have a personal masso, you have personal staff, you have all kinds of coaches. But those days, half a guy or maybe one full guy used to travel as the manager and the coach. But these days, it's very different. Then Venkatraghavan was really scared, and he wanted some protection to his head. He went and asked a cop, a policeman standing there, can you please give me your helmet? I can go out and bat. And he said, no man, no, face without it, right? It's a West Indian accent, Jamaican accent. So that's a kind of, hostility you had to put up with.
Yes, indeed. Now, I would like to narrate that incident actually.
By all means, please.
It's okay. If
Please.
it's okay, it's one of the things which is in my book as well. Right now, we were all scared. Now, Venkat was going before me actually. We were all padded up, scared. We are going to get hit now. So he went and asked the cop who was standing with his helmet, there, some kind of an helmet that was police helmet. He went and asked him, "Hey, can I borrow your helmet, Naman?" He said. And the cop, now we are all waiting to hear what the reply is going to be from the cop and Venkat Raghavan as well. He said, "Hey, Naman, go and enjoy, Naman, play our bowlers. No, I can't give you my helmet." And the way Venkat turned around fuming, believe me, he turned around and, the words which came out of his mouth, taking the life of the chewing gum which he was chewing, that was hilarious. The abusive language in Tamil which he could not understand. "Hey, did you say anything to me?" He said, the cop. "Oh, no, it's okay." He turned around. And then when the turn came, Venkat Raghavan, the other side he was facing, where the ball was keeping low. And I'm at the non-striker's end. And he was expecting a bouncer, obviously, Venkat Raghavan. And Venkat, before the ball could be bowled or delivered by the bowler, Venkat went back foot and swung his bat in the air. The ball rolled and got his pad without waiting for the umpire's decision. He walked away to the pavilion, and immediately Bishan Singh Bedi came outside, and he said, "We don't want any more players," because after Venkat was Bishan Bedi, Chandrasekhar, Prasanna, big tail we had. They are the greatest spinners in the world, and these three great names. So that was the end, and we conceded. He called back all of us after Venkat Raghavan. And that was a big controversy there for calling off that match.
So we have two captains opting for a draw in a test match. It has to be one of the rarest of rare incidents when a team conceded a cricket match saying that we don't want to die. Anyway, it's all good, playing for India, being groomed. But I think, Kiribai, in between all these things started your, if I can, for want of a better word, struggle, right? You were dropped in between after that. And then you had to make a comeback when Australia toured India in '79, if I'm right. And just imagine, we all have pressures at our work, right? He was going to bat. India was 5 down for almost nothing on the board. The chairman of selectors goes up to him and tells him, "Kiri, go save our country and save your place in the side too." Right? So can you imagine going to work and someone tells you, right, at the beginning of a day? So what was there in your mind, and how did you, and I think this requires a tremendous applause. Not only he saved the country there, he got 100 in that particular innings. Could you take us through those moments, please?
Yes, the same year, 1979, I was dropped for the World Cup, the second World Cup. 75 was the inaugural World Cup, 1975, 79. I was preparing, that's the year when I got married also. I was planning 100% to take my wife along on a honeymoon plus the tour of England. Not realizing that I was dropped like a heartbreak, right? I was dropped, and then it's okay. And there our team also didn't perform well in the 1979 World Cup. Plus the series which they played against England, they lost the series and came back. I knew my strength. I knew my capability. I suppose each one of us know your strength, your capability, where you can perform, where you can come off good. So on that count, I didn't give up. I said, well, injustice has been done to me. It's okay, I'll take it, not give up. So the team lost and came back, and I was recalled into the Indian team to play the home series against the Australians. And now, as he mentioned, 5-6 down, and I was relaxed because I was never considered a top order. I was only considered as a crisis man, where when the team comes into trouble, they said, "Hey, Kiri, jao yaar, bachao, bachao." great feeling, yeah, to save the country from the fall or whatever. Great. So I was relaxed. The chairman comes in and says, "Okay, yes, as he mentioned, pair up and save the innings and save the match." And at that stage, you can imagine when you're staging a comeback, what could have gone into your mind. But I've been gifted with a system not to succumb under pressure and not to go into any kind of a tension or anything as such, which gave me, and now the challenges are most welcome to me inadvertently, right? I accept all challenges. I said, yes, this is the time where I should be doing well to save my place in the Indian team. So went in as a night watchman without a lantern. Those days, lantern also was not available to take it to the ground.
So it's
So that was it. So that's where happened to score a century and save my place in the Indian team.
right, and it was at the Wankhede and one of your favorite hunting grounds, Wankhede in Mumbai. Right. So it's time to slip into the World Cup. I think that changed Indian cricket forever. We talk about change. I think that changed the landscape, the complexion, the entire game in the country. But before that, a trivia question to you, audience. We know that we beat West Indies in Test matches before, but the first time India won an ODI match, those days it was like 55, 60 overs. The first time India beat West Indies. Any guess as to who the captain was? No. This gentleman captained the country. Kapil Dev, yeah, so Kapil Dev was injured on the morning, and the captaincy was handed over to the vice captain, which was, of course, he was the vice captain. That's the only game in which you captained the side, right? Yes.
And home series also. There was one at Guwahati or somewhere.
Right,
Captain when I think Kalicharan was leading, or Viv Richards was leading West Indies.
Yeah.
Yes, home series.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So, 83 World Cup, you went there as tourists. There was Zimbabwe, there was Sri Lanka, and then was you, all the weak teams. Never did I think, in fact, Krishnamacharya Srikanth was having an extended honeymoon over there, and that's what it was. But nobody expected them to win. But if you look at it, I think Kiribai, the first match at Old Trafford, Manchester, against the West Indies, you beat them again, and there you won maybe 30 to 40% of the World Cup there itself.
Yes, I think there have been many turning points to our 83 victory. To me, it was the very first match which we played against the mighty West Indians, who were reigning world champions for 2 decades. 1975, they had won the World Cup. 1979, they won the World Cup, and they were gunning for a hat-trick, obviously. They were so strong, legendary players in the West Indies team, and we are facing them. The first match of the tournament, right? Let it be the weakest team in the competition or the strongest team in the competition. If you win the very first match of any tournament, that gives a tremendous confidence into the team, into the individuals as well. So on that count, I think we very comprehensively beat the West Indies at Old Trafford in our very first encounter. And that was a super boost to the entire Indian team. And we were so happy, in the dressing room at that time. So one of the guys from the washroom, we were all packing up all our bags to go out of the dressing room and enjoy ourselves. One of the guys shouted from the washroom, "Hey, we have beaten the world champions, man!" Bolke pukara. So believe me, all of us sitting down in the dressing room, we went into a chorus. "Hey, we have beaten the world champions." Here, now all of us believed in one another's capabilities, believed in one another's strength. And here, nobody was looking back. Captain Kapil Dev, man of few words, full of action. And the greatest thing, which Kapil Dev is mentioned in the book as well, the first meeting, every team has a meeting before the match takes place, and game plan we have, looking into the opposition. We never had any videos or any coach or anybody telling us. We looked into the opposition, stronger aspects of each player and the weaker aspect of each player, and analyzed it one by one, the entire team. So Kapil, a great statement which I have never heard from any captain, who I played under 5 or 6 captains, I think. Yes, he said in his own words, in his own English, he said, Jawano, I have 7 seniors with me. And I don't have to tell what the seniors should be doing, what their responsibilities are, and what they should be doing. I need your guidance. My God, this humbled all the seniors, believe me. And the egos, which is a global problem, by the way, EGO, 3-letter word is a global problem, which the Indian team shocked away by this statement of Kapil Dev, which was a great statement as far as I'm concerned. Right, and from there on, we went on, and Kapil, every match, chalo jawano, piche mud ke nahi dekhne ka, no looking back, put your best foot forward, and that's what we did in the entire tournament.
The lasting memory of every Indian cricket fan would be that Lord's balcony of the 25th of June 1983. But the defining moment, to my mind, that what changed the Indian cricket forever was that day when BBC chose to be on strike and Tunbridge Wells, was it, against Zimbabwe, right? He was having a toast in his mouth, a towel around his waist, and getting ready for a shower. He sees the scoreboard through the opening of a window, and he sees 17 for 5, drops the toast, drops the towel too. Luckily, no one was seeing, right? But your partnership with Kapil Dev, we often talk about the 175 by Kapil Dev. He stood there like a pillar, scored 24, and gave him tremendous support. Please take us through those moments, please.
Thank you so much. How many of you have seen 83 movie? Great. Those who have not seen, please see it. Now, the whole story which he said were the true facts of what happened to me. And it was changed into the movie. And it was taken over by Ranveer Singh, by the ball hitting the washroom and he coming out, blah, 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 blah. You see, now normally I don't get to bat in the one-day international because my all-rounders are in front of me. So I'm always at number 8, 7, 8. I get shuffled in between. So as he mentioned, I was preparing for a good shower and a good breakfast, and suddenly one shout from outside, "Hey, Kiri, pad up, yaar," bol ke bola. Normally, you see, players play pranks on you. They say, they make you pad up, and suddenly when you come out padded up, you see 100 for no loss. So I just avoided that shout. Within 3 minutes, another very serious shout, "Hey, kya kar raha hai yaar? Pad up yaar," bol ke bahar se awaaz aayi. Arey, this is a serious call. Now I must see what's going on outside. So I was looking out for a window. Saw the window, saw the scoreboard, 17, I saw 17. Below that, you see, 5 bolte hi, the toast fell, the towel also fell. Thank God there was nobody in the dressing room at that time. Pulled up my towel, and I don't know how I walked in, whether I had a good shower, whether a good breakfast at that time. Found myself walking up. And obviously, you see now, very few words there. It was just that I told Kapil Dev, "Dekho bhai, we are in a do or die situation at the moment." We cannot just give up just like this. We cannot die just like that. We have to hit and die if at all we have to. Maar ke marne ka hai, agar marna hai to. This dialogue is there in that movie. So, nevertheless, I said, Caps, you're the best hitter of the Indian team. I'll play one delivery, give you 5 deliveries, not to play. You got to hit. You got to hit. I'll take 1 run, you'll play 5 deliveries, hit. And from there on, I have never seen such a blistering, devastating knock from Kapil Dev play. In a situation like that, ladies and gentlemen, in a situation like that, 17 for 5, and a crucial match, by the way, we have to qualify for the knockout if we have to win after doing so very well in the previous games. So on that count, everybody were under tension, pressure, panic, right? So this is where nobody has seen such a great knock except Syed Kirmani from 22 yards. How fortunate I was. How lucky I was to see that great knock in a circumstances and situation like that. Believe me, unbelievable. 175 not out, and yours sincerely, 26 not out.
Wonderful. And then the final at Lords. You were 183 all out. And West Indies had a lot of champagne stacked up in the dressing room. And what exactly transpired in the dressing room? I mean, movies can say whatever they want to say, but what exactly happened in the dressing room? 183, let's be very honest, was a very, very paltry score. It was chicken feed, right? So what did the captain tell you guys? And what was the communication between each other? Did you really feel that you're going to defend this 183?
Well, you see now, Caps, Kapil Dev, as usual, nothing to worry. Our mind was before we left the shores of India for the World Cup. Each one had different set of minds. One said, I'm going for my honeymoon. The other one said, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to enjoy my life, blah, 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 blah. None of us ever, imagined that we could even reach the knockout stage. So on that count, the first match did the trick for all of us. And from there on, we never looked back. We all believed in our capabilities. Each one of us, gave that impetus to one another. No chhodne ka nahi. Chhodne ka nahi. Each one pepping one another in all the matches which we played, and then eventually came on to the finals. The same attitude, the same approach. Arey bhai, hum to finals mein aa gaye hain. Nothing to worry. Just put your best foot forward. 183, koi baat nahi. Chhodne ka nahi. No looking back. Believe in yourself. Each one of us telling one another. Each one of us pepping one another. And according to me, the final point of the entire World Cup, according to my observation, right, we capitalized on the complacency of the stronger teams which we faced. You see, now all the stronger teams like Australia, England, West Indies, these were the top runners for the World Cup. They said, ki, yaar, ye to minnows of the team, they are weaker team, they have never seen what World Cup is. We'll swallow them. That was the complacency. And by the time they could realize we had tightened the snooze in their necks, they couldn't come out of it. So this is the final point which we capitalized on right throughout our 1983 World Cup.
And it is said that Kapil walked up to the dressing room of the West Indians and said, now you may not require the champagne, give it to us. So that's a sweet revenge, right? So, and now this book is so very special in my opinion, because he doesn't hold anything back. And Kiribai, a couple of things that I want to combine. Not so great. For every up, there is a down, right? You were unceremoniously, and then one more thing. I mean, we talked about his accomplishments, what he has, but let's talk about what he doesn't have, hair, which probably people think that it's a negative, but that became your advantage because when you toured Australia in 86, you became very popular by then. And then he figured in a movie. So it is said that most of his teammates were very jealous of him. I'm not kidding. So much so that even the administrators were, and you didn't have a reason to get dropped, but you got dropped.
Well, you see, let me put it this way. Everybody faces the ups and downs in all disciplines of life, in all walks of life, right? So on that count, you become a victim of either you are doing better than the top order, or you are good looking than the rest of them, or you are stealing the show of an institution, or you are gaining more popularity due to your excellence in whatever field you are in. So I thought I was a part of that, right? And now the two things which went into a disadvantage to me was, I came back, this was the third comeback to the Indian team, 85, 86, right? And this was a tour to Australia. And the social media, the print media and the electronic media, they were aware of my shining head and the looks, and they were aware of a small stint I did in a Hindi feature film with Sandeep Patil as the hero. That movie is called Kabhi Ajnabi The. It's on YouTube, it's there, right? So on these two aspects, wherever the Indian team landed, right, the media took me aside and said, what made you shave your head? And what got you into the feature films? So I gave them the reason, cutting it very short, okay? I gave them the reason. And the next day, my photographs used to appear into the newspaper, all the tribunals, etc., etc. Obviously, I don't know how to express this now. This hit the ego. This hit the ego of one and all. Okay, yaar, we are so and so. Why the media is after him? Why the media is after him? So probably now, yaar, it's very difficult for me to express at this juncture where the ego comes in. It's everywhere. It happens to one and all wherever you are, by default or otherwise also. So they were all waiting for me, how to get rid of this guy. He is superseding. He is becoming more popular. Kaise nikalein isko? Kaise nikalein? And the Channel 9 used to publicize with that catch of mine which I took of Alan Border on the leg side. A flick. Took that right-handed, rolled over and got up and just stood up to see whether I was okay. Just did that. Yes, fine. That was the cue. Next day into the newspapers, Brisbane newspapers, Syed Kirmani, injured Syed Kirmani may have to go home. That was it. That's it. And that was the end of my career. Probably they were all tired of seeing me around. अरे इसको छोड़ दिए तो दूसरा विकेट कीपर नहीं आएगा. That's it. And I was as fit as a fiddle, going through all the rigors of physical fitness throughout the tour. And they said, "Ke bhai, if you give him another chance to come back, he will come back. He has that stuff to come back. He has the stuff to prove us wrong." So they put a huge lock onto my career, threw the key into the ocean. 86 to 93, I dived into that ocean to find that key. I could not find. It was like talking to the wall, right? So that's it. I was very content, very happy. And from there, I decided no cribbing, no crying, no fretting, enjoy life. And this is the motto I pass on to one and all. There's no point wasting our time fretting, frowning, cribbing, crying. क्या हो गया, काय को हुआ, क्यों हुआ, काय को हुआ. वो गाना भी है, ये क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, कब हुआ, अब क्या सुनाए. So this is what it is. I would like everybody not to feel, you will face it in every discipline of life. By the way, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, in every walk of life, ups and downs you will face. There's no point. There's no point cribbing, fretting, frowning and crying. You look ahead, look on to the positivity of things, enjoy your life, be optimistic. That's the message I'm passing to all of you, come what may.
So 3 lessons: don't fret, it is what it is. Second, if you don't have hair, don't worry, you can make people jealous. On a serious note, what do you think is your negative probably might be your biggest positive and advantage, right? Yep. So that's about it. There are plenty of questions in my mind, but let me keep it down to 1 or 2 very quick ones. Your career as an administrator, you were the chairman of selectors for a while. If I can use this word, the painful treatment that you got, it didn't stop with you not able to make a comeback into the Indian team, but even in a benefit match, you try for a benefit match, when everybody was granted 1 crore, you were given about 30 lakhs. So that unfair treatment did hurt you.
Well, no. You see, my belief is whatever I get, I look up to the Almighty Lord and say, this is what I am destined by the Almighty Lord. So there's no point cribbing and crying over it. Thank you very much for the honor given. That's it. So on that count, my benefit, it was given by at the CCI cricket ground, where the late Raj Singh Dungarpur, who was the president and the chairman selection committee also, he gave me that match and he said, we can only give you 25 lakhs. I said, fine, done. I was not allowed to, tickets were sold. He said, New Zealand, India ka match koi bhi nahi aayega yaar. मैं बोला साहब, Bombay has been my hunting ground, etc. and etc. The crowd will come. 1 week before the match, this was a decider, right? Sold out. A big queue at the CCI, big crowd at the CCI. We're not getting tickets, blah, 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 blah. And nevertheless. And I think at length, I think the story is there in the book. Nevertheless, thank you very much, I said, and I collected whatever was given to me, and that's where, you see, the contentment in any walk of life, the contentment, you will have a lovely, peaceful sleep, my dear ladies and gentlemen. Contentment is the key for your happiness, come what may. Come what may, honestly. You see, that is what I am destined. It's okay. It's okay. Doesn't matter. ठीक है, उसको 1 करोड़ दिए, कोई बात नहीं. मेरे को 25 लाख दिए, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है. I constructed a small little 30-40 plot I bought, and I constructed a small house in Bangalore now. I'm very happy, very content, no looking back. Look ahead.
It's got to be added that there is a beautiful chapter on his beautiful family. He's blessed that way as well. So before throwing the forum open to questions from the audience, one final question to you, Kiribai. What would the advice of the 73-year-old Kirmani to the 25-year-old Kirmani would be? What advice would that be that you at 73 would give to your own self at 25?
No, I'm not 73, I'm 75.
That is officially. Unofficially, in real, he's only 73. Again, that's something which happened in school.
I've celebrated my platinum jubilee, by the way. Wow, I can't believe that, right. Nevertheless, you see, now the advice is, it's very important to look after oneself, health-wise, and enjoy life, and remember to draw a line. Draw a line in every activity of life. Do not go over the limits. Right? One of the saints, I'm recalling one of the disciples asking a saint, a guru, "Okay, bhai, what is poison?" And the saint replied, "Anything over the limits is poison." Wow, that includes every activity of life, every profession. That's the poison. Whatever profession one might be in, you should know where to draw your line. I am the director of housekeeping, right? I'm throwing my weight around. I'm going overboard on the staff members, which is not right. They're doing their job. So I'm going overboard. So I have to control myself and to see in everybody's circumstances, etc. and etc. Why so-and-so didn't turn up, why so-and-so did such a wrong job, blah, 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 blah. Control yourself and look into the others, why they have not performed to the best of their ability. So on those bases, I suppose you have to accept all these things and be in your limitations in whatever activity you are in, and that will take you in a good health and happiness. It's very important. If one can take care of oneself in the right perspective, that's the key. Right perspective is the key, and you can take care of anybody else, right? So with this, this is the message to the youngsters, that to be humble in their achievements. Not only to the youngsters, anybody, any profession. I cannot be talking about myself, what I did, what I achieved, etc. and etc. Your performance in whatever discipline of life should speak. Automatically, you'll come back. And of course, the egos will play its own role. Don't give up. Keep fighting. And the key to success, according to me, is to honest and sincere. That's the ultimate winner. Honesty and sincerity with hard work is the ultimate winner. To one and all.
We're forced to put a hard stop here, but not before. A couple of questions very quickly from the audience, please. Oh, I see so many hands. I saw his hand first. Please shoot.
See, olden days, behind the wicket keepers used to appeal at regular intervals of time. It won't be for the spirit of the match, but for the gain of the team. So many not out decisions, actual not out decisions were declared out, very out decisions were declared not out. Now decision review system has been implemented. So many Instagram pages, many social networking sites are using AI technology and coming with corrective steps, because once it was declared out by ICC, but actually it was not out. So if we use such technology now, is there anything for you to get panic as a wicketkeeper?
Looks like you questioned and you answered yourself.
Yeah, he is asking with technology, so many decisions made by umpires because of excessive appealing by the wicketkeepers. For example, you got one your way for your team, a batsman was declared out. But with artificial intelligence, sometimes the ICC was proven wrong, or rather somebody can prove the ICC wrong, we put it that way. So is there anything, or was there anything in your career where you need to panic, or you need to be concerned that maybe a few dismissals that you got were not really out?
Well, in our time, they were all biased umpires. All biased. You see, because of this biased umpiring, wherever we went, and with due respects to our umpires, our Indian umpires, with due respects to them, they were incompetent, according to me. They were incompetent in a way कि भाई when the foreigners capitalized on their incompetence, कि भाई they would all together, they would appeal for a catch behind where the batsman has missed. The ball has gone from this 6 inches away, and the entire foreigners appealed together. So our umpires used to get scared and out. So that they were capitalizing. But when we went abroad, you see, they were all biased umpires. They wouldn't give Viv Richards out. They wouldn't give Glenn Turner, captain of New Zealand, out. They wanted to see them score hundreds. So that's the way it went on, and bring animosity and venomous within the players. So the neutral umpires came. Neutral umpires also, one coming from New Zealand wanted to see Viv Richards score 100. So he has not given him an out. When I have stumped him, his foot is still outside. His foot is still outside. You're not giving him out. No, he's not out. 100 Viv Richards.
So the bottom line is it evens out. He got certain outs his way, probably not outs, so it evens out at the end of the day.
So the technology has come in, which is very good.
Right.
Even in the technology, you see the third umpire, instead of pressing the red button, he presses the green button also. So every human is fallible. Nobody is perfect. Nobody can be perfect into this world.
That's why cricket is a great leveler. They say, we just have time for one more question, please. Oh,
So what changed for Indian cricket after 83?
what changed for Indian cricket after 83? The major change.
Yes, the major change after 83 was we built a very strong foundation. Are you there? Yeah, I'm answering your question. Right? We laid such a strong foundation after winning the most unexpected 83 victory, a strong foundation for the current era of cricketers to build their stories on that. We never had a television, we never had anybody, no support staff at all, right? IPL came in, ODI, a lot of changes took place. So I think those changes were required, and for the good of it. So it's good that things have happened. We were the poorest board in the world in our time, 83, and we are the richest board in the world.
Is there one more question? Yeah.
Yes, it's nice to see a lady asking
please,
a question. Good.
So this is my suggestion, not a question. So we all know that roughly by around 19 to 30 years is a prime time for the cricketers, and they retire nearly in their 30s. So just like we have the Indian Institute of Film and Television, isn't it high time in a country where cricket is so celebrated that we have an Indian Institute of Sports specializing in a certain branch of sports that the child wants, so that they can come out with a graduation degree? So once they have this graduation training, it will help them become a stronger and safer player. So your thoughts, or if you can give this suggestion to the government of India, a great thing for us.
I think our BCCI, they do have the entire publications of, we are an institution by itself, I suppose, and cricket is the biggest business going. Right? And so we have all sorts of encouragement, inspiration, motivation to the youngsters of today.